Okay, thank you very much. Then our next speaker is Dr. Gal Astereicher-Zingger, I think assistant professor at the Rקנאטי Graduate School of Business Administration, Tel Aviv.
Hi. Thank you all for coming and for inviting me. As Vera mentioned, I'm from the business school, which hopefully doesn't make me the freak show of this afternoon, but I'm actually not going to be talking about the law of eBooks, but more about the economics of eBooks, or specifically the economics of digital rights. This work is joint work with Professor from NYU. And what we are actually, as I said, focusing is the pricing and granting of digital rights when it comes to eBooks. And I just want to start by pointing out that many of the things we're discussing today is actually not unique to eBooks. It's shared by many industries that are ongoing some process of digitalization. I'm sorry. And this is actually a painful process, not only because of the long name, but it's actually a very painful process to many parties and many entities in this game. And I just noticed that people kept referring to eBooks as some entity that poses a threat to publishers throughout this day. But if you think about it, this is not immediately clear. Why would publishers be so averse to eBooks? The cost reduction benefits of eBooks are clear. There are many good things that eBooks can bring to the industry of publishing. And also, if you think about it, it's not only cost reduction, you can actually increase the value, you can add new properties or new features to your product. If you think about the option to search for a keyword or copy-paste, those are all electronic features that enhance the experience of the consumer and therefore should also increase the willingness to pay and the price of the product and therefore the profit of the publisher. So if we increase the value of the product and reduce the cost of the production, what is the trade-off? Right? Well, the trade-off, of course, comes from the issue of privacy. Because many of those digital features that we want to add to our product to enhance and improve it are actually also the same features that will enable widespread privacy. And so publishers are faced with a very painful trade-off. On one hand, you want to provide your consumers with the best possible product and then charge them the highest possible price, right, and extract as much of this willingness to pay. But on the other hand, granting of those rights may actually hurt your ability to sell your product or would limit the market. So somewhere between this trade-off, you need to also think about the fact that if you're restricting the rights too much, then you're losing the market because the product is not attractive to your consumers. Right? And so this is what I think in a way slows down this process towards a digital market, right? Because otherwise there's no reason why we shouldn't make the step. And so what we're trying to do in this work is first come up with a model that understands the pricing and granting of digital rights. So there are two choices here for a publisher to make. One is whether I should give those rights to my consumers, and second, how should I be pricing those products. And when I'm thinking about those questions, I should also consider the fact that there is potential cannibalization to the revenues from the tangible books. I should consider the loss of market share to piracy, and I should also consider the technology sophistication of the consumer, which is something I'll talk about in a minute. But broadly, we have different consumers with different feelings or different willingness to use electronic products, right? And so thinking about all those three dimensions, we need to come up with a right model for pricing and granting of digital rights. And then we take the outcomes of this theoretical model into the ebook industry. We collected data about 60,000 ebooks, 30,000 of them are also features of tangible books on Amazon, and we compare prices and we try to understand what affects the price of an ebook. Of course, it would be the price of the tangible book, the demand for the tangible book, but also, as I'll show you, it has a very interesting interplay between the different rights and the technology sophistication of the consumer. So this is where we're going. Let me start with the model, and again, I know most of you are not economists, so I try to keep it simple, but the way well, it wasn't a quality assessment, it was a fake. So we're thinking about a model where you have three products. You have the tangible product, you have the legal digital product, and you have the illegal digital product. Now the tangible product price would be a given in our model because we're thinking about the publisher of the ebook at this point. And it also has a given quality depending on the author or the language or so forth, right? The legal digital product will have to choose a price for, and we also have to choose a set of rights. And that set of rights is going to dictate the quality of the digital product. So more rights will definitely make a better product in our model. Now the pirated digital good has a price of 0, and its quality also depends on the same set of rights. So they have different qualities, but they're depending on the same set of rights that the publisher actually gives the consumer. And then, as I said, the consumer will have to make two choices. One is what combination of rights, and the second one, what is the right price for the digital product. And now we're also considering consumers who are different on two dimensions. One dimension is the valuation for digital goods. Okay? So we all like a better product. We all want more digital rights, but we different on how much we're willing to pay for them. So the higher you are on that X would mean you're willing to pay more for the digital product. And then you also we also differentiate our consumers in how much they like tangible products. And so on the X marked by Y actually, you see consumers have a location on the spectrum between only willing to read a tangible book to consumers who really like actually reading an electronic book. So given same rights, same price, we all have a preference for digital versus tangible. And all of our consumers are going to be somewhere on the spectrum. They have a preference for digital products, and they also have a willingness to pay for those rights. Okay? And you can ignore the equations that you can see. Okay? And so we start with a very simple model, no piracy in the world, only two options, either you buy the tangible product or you buy the digital product. And what you see is that our consumers split into two groups. The white are going to be the people who buy the tangible products, and the green are going to be the people who buy the digital goods. And it makes sense, right? They're in the upper right corner, meaning they have a high valuation, they're willing to pay for digital products. They also like digital compared to tangible, even for the same price. So that would be the corner up there. And what we find as far as granting the rights, we find that what's optimal is just to give your consumers the best possible product. Give them all the rights you have. Make your product the best possible product you can, and then you control for cannibalization with the optimal choice of price. So you maximize your profit just by choosing the right price, but you do give the best possible product like you would expect in any other market that doesn't have piracy, right? I want to create the best two products I have, and then I'll separate between them, choosing the right price. Now here's what happens when we add to this simple model the concept of piracy. Now you see the brown area is the consumers that we now lost, and they are consuming the pirated good. And you can see they're coming from both sectors. So some switch from the tangible product to the pirated product. Some switch from the digital legal product to the pirated product, right? And then now the question becomes a little bit trickier. Which rights do you want to grant your consumers? Well, the answer is it depends. It depends on two things. One is the effect on the quality of the legal digital goods, and the second one is what we call the differentiative effect, meaning how much better is the legal good versus how much better is the pirated good. You see the difference? So on one hand, you're increasing the quality of your legal product, but you're also increasing the quality of the pirated product, right? And so you could potentially increase the quality of the pirated much more than you increase the quality of the legal one. For example, if you give them the right to print, and then they can immediately print it into a PDF, you increase the quality of the pirated product significantly, and so the differential effect could be actually negative. Okay, so the granting of the right depends on this trade-off between the increase in the positive effect, in the effect on the price of the legal product, versus the differentiative effect between how much have I narrowed down the difference in quality between the legal and the pirated one. Okay, and then the price is going to come as a result of, again, those qualities that are going to be determined. But the answer One second, as far as, again, I'm sorry for the mess with the questions, but the answer to the question, should I grant a right, it depends on the differential effect. And then it also, as you don't see this in the model, but if you take a look in this picture, you see that the people who actually buy the digital products, as I said, are in the upper right corner. So they're willing to pay for digital rights, but they really like electronic products, which starts to give you a hint to what we'll see in the data, that those rights that they'll appreciate are the rights that are targeted to people who are digital, meaning they would like more things like copy-paste and things that enhance the digital experience, and they would appreciate less rights like printing that enhance or aim towards replicating the process of consuming a tangible product. Okay, but we'll see this more in the data. What we need to remember for now is that when it comes to a model with those three different products, when we have the digital, tangible, and the pirated goods, the answer to whether or not you should give a right to your consumers depends on the effect on both products, your product and the pirated one. Okay? Okay. Can you catch that? What about technology sophistication? I said it also depends on the technology sophistication, and obviously our consumers are becoming more and more technology sophisticated. They can handle e-books better. Well, again, the answer is it depends. It's not really clear, because here what happens. As we become more technology sophisticated, it means we're all moving on to higher Ys, right? You see this wave, and then if your consumers are more technology sophisticated, it means two things. They are more likely to buy an e-book, but they are also more likely to know how to pirate. Okay, and so again, we'll have to go to the data and see the effect, but technology sophistication is not necessarily a good thing for the e-book industry, because again, it could also advance the piracy aspect of the product. So as I said, we collect the data. We collect the data about 60,000 titles sold on a specializing website, and we actually stay with this website. We didn't go for iTunes or either one of those, because I think that, like Niva mentioned, it's slightly trickier. They're substituting some of the revenue from the books, but they also have to include the revenue from selling the device. So I'm thinking about publisher in the more old-fashioned way, where they actually selling a PDF over specified over this unique website. And then we also collect the data for products that are the same books that are sold on Amazon. We found 34,000 of them also being sold on Amazon. And we have information about, as I said, the format, but I'll be talking about Adobe PDF only. And we have also information about different rights. So what do I mean by rights? You can give your consumers the right to print. You can give your consumers the right to copy-paste. You can give them the right to lend it to a friend, and you can give them the right to read aloud, which enables your computer to read a book to you. We also focus on different categories, because as I said, we want to see something about the technology sophistication of the consumers. So we chose a couple of larger categories that we thought could be mapped to some sort of different levels of technology sophistication. Okay? Now here's what it looks like on that website when you go to buy one of those books. You see, of course, you have the title and so forth. You have the price, and you also have the different rights that are granted for this specific book. And as you can see, the rights to print and the right to copy-paste, which I think are the more interesting ones, they vary on two axes. One is you can, they vary on how many pages can you print or copy-paste, and it varies on how many days. So you can see something like this. Yes, you can copy-paste as much as you want for as long as you want, or you can see something like this. 25 pages over 10 days. It could be 300 pages over a year, or 2 pages a day, or no, none at all, of course. Right? So we coded it the following. We basically copied what you should always focus on. We coded it as either you can copy-paste all, or you have some partial rights of copy-paste, or if you don't at all, that would be 0 for both. And again, we also have print all and print partial. So you have complete printing rights or partial printing rights. Okay, I'll go fast now. And what we wanted to do, as I said, was relate the price of the e-book to those digital rights. And what we also have to take into account, of course, is the market for the tangible book. So we included here the price for the tangible book, the list price and the sale price for Amazon, because of course the sale price today should also matter to the demand for the e-books. We also wanted to know something about the popularity of the book, so we included the sales rank or its demand, how much it's selling on Amazon, and then we also have all those different rights, the copy or copy partial and so forth. And let's just focus on, I have 5 minutes left, right? Okay, so I'll focus on the highlights, because as you'd expect, more expensive tangible books should have a more expensive ebook, right? And so the price of the ebook is associated with a higher price for the tangible book would be associated with a higher price for the ebook. Same goes with demand. More popular books should have a higher price for the ebook. But here's the interesting part when we look at the rights. So now, as you can see, we have 2 rights that are positively influencing the ebook price, and 2 rights that are negatively or associated with a negative effect on the ebook price. And those are the copy paste all, copy paste partial seems to be associated with a higher price, while printing all and printing partial are associated with a lower price. What this actually means is, as I said, the answer to should I give this right is depend. Well, you should definitely give the copy paste right according to our data, because what it means is that, remember I told you the upper right corner, those are people who really value copy paste. They would actually buy the ebook because they can copy paste to the document. However, when we talk about printing all, well, I don't know how much they value the option to print. If they wanted to print, they would buy the hardcover or the tangible product. And again, I said, how much do you increase the value for your legal product, but also differential effect? Well, we actually played with some of them, tried to pirate some of those books, and we noticed that when you copy all, it doesn't give you a perfect pirated copy. It takes away the page numbers, it takes away the tables, everything goes a little off. So the added value for the pirated product is not as high. However, when you try to do the print all, well, you can print to a PDF, and then I created those perfect copies, okay? Which I didn't use, of course. But the answer is, well, again, you should take into account, as I said, how much do you increase the value of your legal product, and how much you affect the differential effect between those 2 qualities. Well, in our data, you see the copy-paste option seems to have a positive effect on the ebook price, while the printing option seems to actually have a negative effect on the price you can charge. And the last thing I want to say is something about the category, and I told you we have different categories. I'll just tell you that, as I said, we didn't know which way it will go, because on one hand, people with higher technology sophistication should want to buy an ebook. On the other hand, they should also know how to pirate. Well, what we find is actually consumers with high technology sophistication are willing to pay more for ebooks, all other things being equal. And so books on computers, professional books where we thought, and I have no support for that, but where we thought consumers have higher technology sophistication, price of the ebooks were actually higher. If you look at fiction, history, art, they all seem to have a lower price for the ebook. Putting this all together, as I said, we show on the model, and we see this in our data. When you actually consider giving a digital ebook to your consumers, you should take into account the effect it would have on the quality of the pirated goods. You should take into account how technology sophisticated your consumers and how much do they value digital products. Don't try to treat it as an imitation to the tangible. So it's not a cheaper book, it's just a different book. And if you treat it as a different book and you take into account that people who buy it because they can copy paste, because they can search, because they like to work online, then you could actually maybe separate the rights that are wrong and the rights that are right for your product. Okay, well, I guess you can't see much of this, and I'm out of time anyway. And so let me just maybe sum actually by what's next in this research. What we don't have is data about piracy. So what we would like to do would be to contrast this with some information about how many of those books are available as a pirated good, and also, again, as I said, really interesting to wonder how different this is between books and music. But I think that's all for today. So, thank you.